Hey there, folks. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Deliverability Dialogues.
Great to be back.
Today, we're tackling a challenge many of you have likely wrestled with. The frustrating 550 high probability of spam error.
Yes, the dreaded 550, definitely a common pain point.
It really is. It's like a digital locked door, right? Preventing your carefully planned campaigns from even reaching the inbox.
Exactly.
Okay, so the good news is this is fixable. And in this deep dive, we've looked at a really insightful article that gets right to the heart of this.
Yeah, it breaks it down nicely. We're not just going to rehash the basics here. Our goal is to give you, our experienced colleagues, some real actionable intelligence.
We'll dig into why this error happens, maybe touch on how some of these spam filters actually work, and crucially, lay out some proven fixes.
So let's start with the why. Why does this 550 high probability of spam error even happen?
Well, fundamentally, as the article points out, it often boils down to failing those key security checks.
Mm-hmm.
SBF, DKIM, DMR.
Factor 3, authentication.
Exactly. Or the other major cause is simply that your sending domain has developed a poor reputation, maybe over time, maybe from a specific campaign.
So the receiving servers are constantly analyzing things, not just the content.
Oh, constantly. They look at the content, sure, but also the formatting, your sending behavior, comparing everything against known spam patterns.
And these authentication methods, SPF, DKIM, DMR, they're like your digital passport.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's your proof that you are who you say you are, and you're authorized to send from that domain. Failing those checks consistently,
You're not getting in.
you're not getting in. Simple as that.
Okay, so beyond authentication, what other maybe less obvious things trigger this? The article mentioned a few.
Yeah, there are several triggers. For instance, missing an unsubscribe link. Seems basic, right?
Super basic. Can spam 101.
But filters see it as a huge red flag. No easy opt-out.
Mm-hmm.
That smells like spam. It suggests you're not respecting the recipient's choice.
And makes them more likely to just hit the spam button themselves, which digs the hole deeper.
Exactly. Then there's formatting and style.
Yeah.
Like using all cappas everywhere.
Subject like this.
Yeah. Or just excessive punctuation. Free E.
Mm.
Classic spam tactics.
And spam trigger words.
Overusing them definitely bumps up your spam score.
Yeah.
It's about the pattern, the language historically used by actual spammers.
Right. The article mentioned Spamhaus insights on this.
Absolutely critical. Poor list hygiene is a killer. If you're not managing your bounces, like you keep emailing addresses that don't exist anymore.
Yeah, sending to people who never actually signed up.
Precisely. Sending without clear consent. Those things wreck your reputation and lead straight to 550 errors.
Any other technical gremlins?
Definitely. Linking to domains that are already on blacklists, that's almost an automatic flag.
Makes sense. Guilt by association.
Pretty much. And poor HTML. Broken code, way too much code, missing headers, weird embedded scripts. All that can look suspicious to a filter.
All right, let's pivot to fixing it. We know why it happens. Now, how do we stop it? Where do we start?
Priority number one, according to the source, and frankly, according to best practice, nail down your SPF, DKIM, and DMRC configuration.
Get those authentication records right in your DNS.
Absolutely mandatory. Microsoft, for example, is very clear messed this up, especially for Office 365, and you're heading for the spam folder or outright rejection. It's just adding that specific TXT record to your domain's DNS.
Simple but crucial. And DKIM, similar process.
Similar. You generate a unique key, usually in your email provider's admin panel. Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 have tools for this. Then you publish that public key as another TXT record.
And DMRC kind of ties it all together. Tell servers what to do if SPF or DKIM fail. And verifying these is key. Don't just set and forget.
Definitely not. Use tools like MX Toolbox or the Google Admin Toolbox. Verify, verify, verify.
Okay, authentication, lockdown. What's next on the fix list?
Enabling SMTP authentication. This is about how your email client or application sends the mail out.
Making sure it logs in securely to the outgoing mail server.
Precisely.
And then there was blocking direct SETP connections. Why do that?
Well, blocking direct SMTP forces all outgoing mail through your actual configured mail servers.
Ah, so you can monitor volume properly.
Right. It helps you monitor volume, spot weird activity, and stops rogue scripts maybe on your website from sending spam directly, bypassing your control.
That's smart. Okay, what about just sending too much email?
Yeah, controlling your sending limits. That's huge. ISPs and ESPs monitor volume closely.
The article also mentioned optimizing DNS settings more broadly, beyond just SPF DKIM demarker.
Right. DNS is like the internet's GPS, directing traffic, including email.
Translating domain names to IP addresses.
Exactly. and it's where your FPF is published. If your
Yeah.
general DNS routing is messed up or security settings are wrong, emails can get misdirected or flagged.
So it's worth doing a general DNS health check too.
Absolutely. Make sure everything is pointing correctly and securely in your DNS management settings.
Okay, the final big piece seems to be actively improving sender reputation, especially if it's already taken a hit.
Yeah, reputation recovery. It takes time and strategy.
The article suggested maybe pausing outreach from problem domains.
That's a good first step. Pause the problematic sending and start a careful inbox warm-up.
Right, warming up. Sending low volumes to engaged recipients first, gradually increasing.
Exactly. It demonstrates good sending patterns and positive engagement to the mailbox providers, like that Inbox Alley case study with Ajexa mentioned in the article.
Going from 5% open rate to 41%, that's huge.
It really shows the power of a proper warm-up. If you have to keep sending critical mail, maybe use a different, healthier domain for a bit while you fix the original one.
And using deliverability tools to monitor your reputation helps too, right?
Invaluable. They show you where you stand and what needs fixing.
Okay, so that covers the main fixes. But the article also touched on different types of 550 errors. Sometimes the message gives more clues.
Right, like 550 no such user here. Often that's just a typo in the email address.
Or the recipient server might be having issues, or maybe their mailbox is full, or even misconfigured permissions or MX records.
Yeah, it points more towards the recipient's end or the validity of the address itself. Then there are routing issues, which can also sometimes show as no such user.
How does that work? The email journey.
Well, the email goes from your client, MUA, to your sending server, MTA. That's where you might see TLS SSL errors or bad SMTP logins, and then to the recipient server, MDA, which handles final delivery. Problems at any stage can cause a bounce.
Like the recipient's server running out of storage space?
Could be, or message processing errors, attachments too big, maybe headers formatted incorrectly against standards, or problems with HTML encoding or missing tags.
And then there's the dreaded IP blacklisting, maybe showing as 550 email blocked.
Yeah, where your sending IP address itself gets flagged as a spam source by lists like Spamhaus, Senderbase, Cisco Talos, or Barracuda.
Which brings us back to improving sender reputation.
Always. But if you are blacklisted, there's usually a removal process.
You have to find the specific list, check their site, figure out why you were listed, fix the underlying issue.
And then submit a removal request. It can take a few hours, sometimes longer, but be warned, if you go back to spammy behavior, you'll get relisted fast.
Makes sense. What about 550 sender verify failed?
That one can sometimes mean the recipient's mailbox is full. They literally can't accept the email.
So the fix is, on their end, delete old emails, upgrade storage.
Right. Or it could point to issues verifying you as the sender, going back to authentication problems.
Okay, another angle. What if you're getting 550 errors for emails you didn't even send?
That's a big red flag for a compromised account.
Yeah.
Someone might have hacked your email.
Oof. So check your send items immediately.
Definitely. Scan your computer for malware or spyware. Change your password, make it strong. Enable two-factor authentication if you haven't already.
And let your email admin know, especially if settings were changed.
Absolutely. They need to secure things server-side too.
One more scenario. Spam link injections. How does that cause a 550?
This is usually when your website gets compromised. Hackers inject scripts that send spam from your web server, often using your domain.
So the receiving servers see spam coming from your domain IPs, even if it's not from your actual email account.
Exactly. It tanks your reputation. You need to find and remove those malicious scripts and patch whatever website vulnerability they exploited.
And finally, the article mentioned changing your SMTP port.
Yeah, port 25, the default SMTP port, is often blocked by ISPs because it's so commonly used by spam bots.
So switching to alternatives might help deliverability.
It can. Ports like 2525, 587, which is recommended for authenticated SMTP, or 465, which typically uses SSL TLS encryption, are often better choices.
Wow, okay, that covers a lot of ground. It's clear that beating the 550 high probability of spam error takes a really comprehensive approach.
It really does, from the deep technical stuff like authentication and DNS, right through to your everyday sending habits and content choices.
And managing that sender reputation proactively, it's not always a quick fix, is it?
Rarely.
So here's a final thought to chew on. Considering this ever-changing landscape of spam filtering, what proactive measures, maybe beyond the technical configurations we discussed, can email marketers implement to build that crucial long-term trust with mailbox providers and really ensure consistent inbox placement?
That's a good one. Thinking beyond the tech.
Something to ponder. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, happy inbox allying.